What is up, guys? It's Verns back here again with another Supercoach video. This time it is the NBL Round 4 review. I know, it's super late in the week. In fact, we got like 2 hours till tip-off to start this week. It was a super disappointing week. It does make it sometimes hard to come on here and be like, guys, it just all sucks. But look, we did the Supercoach Hub video earlier in the week. I hope you all tuned into that on the Supercoach Hub YouTube channel. We had DR come on, which was awesome, also with Boz. And yeah, it was a good sesh. Honestly, I think we had some good discussion. Probably over-talked in a week that was irrelevant. When I say over-talked, I mean me specifically. I love to waffle, as we know. But yeah, once we smashed that out Monday, yeah, my motivation to jump out and do this was pretty low because I just felt like I'd already discussed everything. Just didn't really need to do it again. I mean, it's a super basic week. It's Operation Get PJC week. Super, super easy. And it's just a stock standard trade-ins for most people. So I think we'll mainly reflect on what happened on the coming week. We scored 317. We went down 375 places. I know, guys. I told you this week I was going to crack the top 1,000. And I did the opposite. I went backwards. I moved out of the top 2,000. Like, my goodness. And it was pretty disappointing. I guess I'd also like to appreciate all those that have tuned into the video, that have liked and subscribed for their consistent injection of Supercoach content directly into their YouTube feed. We can see the team value at 2,400,000. That's probably the most important factor at this point of the year. Have we made money? Because we need to be making money to be able to get in these top tier guys. I see some of the top echelon players over 2,500,000. I think the highest guy I saw was 2,556,000. So having that extra 150k, that's the difference between having, a Galloway and a White. That's generally like the price difference. Like, it's crazy how much that extra cash can do. Saying that, I think we're at a good cash gen situation. I feel like we're at the stock standard. We're in the middle. We're not like super ahead. We're not behind. We just got good cash gen. We'll jump into the team. Really disappointing this weekend in just I think I made the right trades. The trades were correct, so it's really great in that sense for what I wanted to do. Like, I brought in Cooks. Robertson worked out a doozy and earned us 40k. Amazing. Galloway didn't quite fire, and Gak ended up being really good. I did consider Gak, but when I considered Gak, it was never moving Galloway out. It was Gak with Galloway, because obviously previously it was Gak and Armstrong. Gak and Armstrong, but without Armstrong it was Galloway and Armstrong, but it could have been Galloway and Gak moving forward. But then, yeah, just decided this was a better route. I think it was in the sense that Cook and Robertson really saved my week. And then, unfortunately, Galloway was a little bit underwhelming. Gak was the better play, cheaper, made more money, better break even this week. Yeah, he's just looked really good. Unfortunately, kind of got that one wrong. But I think the most disappointing thing was moving on Will Hickey. As you can see, I didn't reverse these trades, but you know what? It doesn't even matter because, let's be honest, we know what the trades are. We know how stock standard this week's going to be. I've been talking about it for weeks in advance. This is what the team actually looked like for coming into it. We can see I have 40k there. Now, Will Hickey was about 16k more expensive than Henshaw, so I could have just moved Henshaw instead of Will Hickey, and this makes this week so much better. And it's one of those things that's like hindsight. Like, it's easy to make that call with hindsight. But the funny thing was, on X, people were putting their teams in there. They were asking, hey, Verns, is it worth getting Pepper this week? Hey, Verns, is it worth doing this? And I would sit around and be like, no, I don't think Pepper or Henschel are going to have a good week. Ty Webster's coming back. He's going to eat into both of them, and I'd expect quite a poor week from both. And so I knew it. Like, actively in my brain, I knew Henschel wasn't going to have a good week. I didn't expect it to be this bad, unfortunately, but I knew it wasn't going to be good. Where it's like, you comparing the Hickey, it's like, who has the better role? Hickey has the role, he has the guaranteed court time, and I think that's more or less what it is with these cheapies at that sort of price. It's like, he has the role, the court time. Henshaw could be a did not play on any given week. It's just how it's been previously. He got outperformed by Pepper, so Pepper was getting the minutes over him. With Webster coming back, that's all of his minutes gone, and it's just like, logically keeping Hickey made more sense. There was a 3 difference in their break-even. Henshaw was 2 and Hickey was 5, and there's only 16k. So roughly same break-even, roughly similar money. It really should have been a very obvious, at this situation, who's more likely to have the role and the opportunity, and the answer was Hickey, and it's just a bit annoying that I moved him instead of Henshaw, and that could have really helped this week to make up for the point that obviously we captained Adams, and I'm not even upset about that, because obviously it's annoying that Adams got injured. He would have easily gone, I think, 60 plus this week, but that's an uncontrollable. I mean, we've mentioned it before, you control the controllables. Trading Henshaw over Hickey, that was a controllable. I just needed to think about that a bit more. Like, I obviously knew it because I was telling people on X, don't do this. But then I didn't seem to follow my own advice in that situation. For some reason in my head, I just had that Hickey was leaving. And that might have been when I initially looked at Galloway in for Ulbrich and Armstrong in for Hickey, and I had $300 left. Obviously, I couldn't do Armstrong in for Henshaw in that situation, and it might have been that initial trade that I was looking at that for some reason I just put it in my brain that these guys were the guys that were going, and just didn't really think outside of that box. I don't think I ever considered trading Henshaw, which is a complete misplay on my behalf. He had an okay break even, but we knew he didn't really have the role, and I really should have moved on Henshaw. So annoying there. You're very unfortunate with Jalen Adams, the 12. It sucks. Anyone that went Cooks on top of him got 56 extra Supercoach points if you ran Adams and Cooks. So that's super painful. If you didn't even run Adams, if you had someone like an Edwards or something like that, you just balled out on us because you probably captained Cooks and then you got the extra 30, 40 points from Edwards and just run away with it. And I guess that's the crazy thing. If we actually look at the rankings here, I think the highest score for the rink was only 430. Yeah, 430 for this week, which is only 100 points higher, which, it's still a lot of points. That's a lot of points to get away with in this week, which sucks. But the 56 extra points from Adams there, that brings it down to about 50, about 55-ish. And then if you have someone like Edwards, it's the extra 40 points there, and in reality, this team was set up to be a top-tier team, and it just didn't happen, and it's an uncontrollable. Positives, obviously, Lepepe balled out as well. Robertson balled out, so we made great money off them, great bench scoring. Oliver did enough, in my opinion. It's not great, but he did enough. Cooks came back from the 19, which I don't know if that's a good thing, because 60% of the people had him captain, so every point he got, technically, 60% of the comp was getting him getting an extra point for that. So I think it would have been better for me if he actually had an unders game than what he did in game 2. Very unfortunate. And that's the risk when you go against the pack sometimes. If your pod captain fails, which I really don't think he should have failed, it's an injury, then you fall behind. But if it works out, then you get a massive advantage. And that's sort of what we were playing towards. But enough talking about last week. Let's just click on projections. Galloway's is pretty high. He might lose some money. Oliver might maintain. And then Cooks, Adams, massive. Davis, pretty big. Harrell should meet that. Zakowski should hopefully meet that. Robertson will make some good money. And then hopefully Henshaw can meet that. That would be great. I think, as we've talked about it for weeks, it's simply Harrell and Davis out. It's how it's always been. We're just going to click on averages because that gets us PJC. And then we're just going to get Menenga. Perfect. And this just is really good. The whole point of this structure going forward is I think Menenga's is generally a guy that can get 20 plus on the court. So you're looking at least a 40 out of him. So I felt like this is honestly a premium on-field setup with these players. And it's hey, I could hold these players the next few weeks. I'm going to hold them this week. Yeah, probably have a down week. But then next week they all have the double. The week after that, they all have the double. And on those weeks, I can sit here and fix up the bench, move these players around. So it was a bit, it's unfortunate what happened this week. But I still think I need to stick with the strategy that I already built. With this as well, the 111k, people might sit there and think you're wasting the money, but I think this is really important because Armstrong's going to be back next week. The good news with doing my video this late is that we are pretty confident in Adams playing again this week. So since he's playing, that should be fine. Armstrong is not back, but he should be back the following week. So it does mean that with this extra money, I can literally go Henshaw to Armstrong, and then this team looks so much better once I sort of fix that up. Then we'll have basically all the players on the double except for Zakowski. Maybe Zakowski's someone I fix up too. I wouldn't have much money after I make this move. It's going to cost me about 95k. I'd have 15k left over. There's not too much I can do with that, so I'll need to figure that out next week, but I think Armstrong's the very obvious one. But yeah, I think team It sucks what happened, but I think we still stick with the strategy. It's looking good at this point. I know what you guys are thinking. What happens if it gets to Friday night and Adams isn't playing? Well, it's very simple. We talked about this on the hub, but I actually realized this after the fact. I talked about maybe going to a Taz player, but it's simply just clicking the update button on Kendrick Davis and moving Adams out. Because they played later in the week, so if Adams doesn't get named, I don't have to burn another trade. I can literally just move him to Davis. It still just uses the one trade to PJC. It just changes who I traded to PJC. So, yeah, I can literally wait till Friday night, check the game beforehand, move Adams to Davis if I need to. Pretty confident he'll be playing and pretty confident in this team. So, hopefully we can bounce back here, guys. Not expecting a great week this week, but I think we're stacked up really well to do well the next 2 weeks, and then after that, we'll figure it all out. Anyway, guys, I appreciate all you for sticking around. I know I've done captains. The answer is PJC. If you're not doing PJC, you're trolling. It's that simple, guys. Just keep it easy, keep it simple. As I mentioned, these are stock standard trade-ins. Like, there's no point in talking about anything else. I think Menenga's probably the second best breaker when it comes to potentially scoring, at least in this forward center position. He's going to be the best. And yeah, PJC. It's stock standard because it's, in my opinion, clearly the best. And there's nothing else that is even worth entertaining. So anyway, guys, till next time, peace, later.